Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good. Block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30.
Welcome to the Fins Tailgate. It's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. We live that aqua and orange from the field to the mic. Breaking down the plays, man, we talk it every night. From Tua to the defense, you know we keep it tight. NFL moves, you know we got the insight. We open up the floor, yeah, it's your time to shine. Fans drop the heat with opinions realigned. You got concerns, bring them, we're gonna chime. The Fins Tailgate's where we keep it prime. Welcome to the Fins Tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. The NFL's changing, but we stay on the grind. Latest breaking stories, we don't waste no time. From the trades to the rumors, we make them all align. At the Fins Tailgate, we always on the climb. We're repping the Dolphins, but it's NFL-wide. From South Beach to the league, we keep it worldwide. Got the fans engaged with the energy supplied. Come kick it at the tailgate, we're riding high tide. Welcome to the Fins Tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. So if you love the game, you know we got the gate. Tune in, speak out, don't wait, it's your fate. This is the Fins Tailgate, now watch us dominate. Miami Dolphins, NFL, yeah, we integrate.
What is happening, Dolphins fans, and welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. Tonight, on the tailgate party that never seems to stop, we reach across the aisle. We bring, well, I don't want to say an enemy, because let's face it, you know, we're not rivals at this. I know we got rival jerseys being rolled out in this game, but what are we rivaling for? Rivaling to not be the worst right now? But we're going to bring Jets, friend of mine, been on his pod before. Good dude, Pat, with Jets Cast. But before we get into that, shout out to the Tailgate Army in chat. Appreciate y'all. Members in here, some mods. I see Michael K, Scott Jackson, Mudbone, Ms. Relentless, who's an official Tailgate Army member. Victor in here, what's up? Hit the like button, everybody. Jimmy, and then Mondo, who is an official Tailgate Army member. Hit the like button, everybody. I'm not going to waste too much time. We got about an hour here with my friend Pat. What's going on, Pat? How you been, buddy?
Oh, my football team sucks. So how do you think I've been?
Well, I mean, we're in the same. We're you know, we're wearing the same shoes right now. You know, we're kicking in the same kicks these days, and it's rough, right? Like, but I look at the Jets, and you know, you got Aaron Glenn. It's his first coaching year as the head coach, but you guys, you go and get the retread and Fields, which everybody who's since they drafted Fields. Of course, my wife's calling me right now. Since they drafted Fields, they've been trying to harness that incredible talent that he has physically and gifts. Everybody's been wanting to, and even when I see him, there's like those blips, like, oh my god, this guy could be so good. And then also, you know, your team seems to be in a scheme change as well, as far as personnel. And it's almost like I look at the Jets and what they are in 2025, and they're what the Dolphins were inevitably going to be in 2026. You know, maybe a new coach, a lot of see what we got. You know, we're not spending money. We might do some shrewd, you know, trade pieces for some depth guys here and there. Because I noticed did you guys just trade for something recently?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So they did this. So this is the third time that the new GM Darren Mucci has done this, where they're flipping 6th and 7th round draft picks for guys that at least they feel can contribute. So they did it with Harrison Phillips with the Vikings, Jawan Briggs from Cleveland, and now they just grabbed Jarvis Brownlee Jr. from the Titans. And so, I mean, the first two guys have actually contributed. I think Quinnen Williams has played better with Phillips and Briggs next to him. Briggs has got some pressures and got a sack against the Buffalo Bills. And Brownlee, I mean, Titans fans are pretty pissed that we got him. So if the other fan base is kind of angry, then you feel like you kind of won that trade. And I'm always going to be for flipping 6th and 7th round draft picks for guys that you know what they are, that have played in the league, because in my view, a 6th and a 7th is kind of like a lottery pick. It could be a guy that doesn't make the team or a practice squad player. If you're going to bring in someone that is a starting player for a 6th or a 7th round trade, like I'll take that every day of the week. And as far as the cornerback goes, Brandon Stevens has not played up to what they think he should be. Michael Carter, who is supposed to be one of the better or the best slot corners in the league, he's fallen off the table. So I think, it's the first year of a rebuild.
I still
Aaron
think
Glenn
you're tearing down a little bit, if you want to be real.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff and Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn's really running the show there. If we're being honest,
It seems like it. It seems like
Yeah.
he's running the whole show.
They're taking stock of what the roster is, and they're going to make some shrewd decisions in this upcoming offseason. And I think they're just hoping to catch some sort of lightning in a bottle with Justin Fields, hoping that they can get some sort of rebounds the way former Jets quarterback Geno Smith did with Seattle. And again, former Jets quarterback Sam Darnold did with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe Zach Wilson becomes something for you guys.
Yeah, well, there is some people out there wondering that if Zach Wilson will make his appearance finally, because the Dolphins are immensely.
Guys, you don't want him.
No, I don't want. I try to tell people, listen, in like a relief game where he's got no script to follow and he runs out there and plays fast and loose and nobody's prepared for him, he looks amazing. And then when it comes where he has to operate the script and do the game, practice and execute, he freezes, he gets happy feet, he makes bonehead plays, and then you're like, oh, that's right, that's Zach Wilson. And I don't think that's changed out of him, honestly. It just never seemed like he caught up to the speed of the game, for whatever reason, for processing. But Dolphin fans, I mean, the chickens have finally come home to roost in Miami for Tua Tagovailoa, and all the shortcomings I've been talking about for years, all the things I worried, all the things that they've masked in other ways. Mike McDaniel has done an incredible job of honing talent and putting it in places to hide all of Tua's deficiencies. And now that teams have schemed themselves up to take those deficiencies away and force him to play against his weaknesses, he's in trouble. And we're seeing exactly what I would like to say, not too dissimilar than Fields, a guy who has looked the exact same with the same kind of skill set that hasn't grown and progressed. I mean, it could have gone the other way for Fields if he would have put it together at one point. He had a coach like Mike McDaniel that, built a perfectly tailor-made offense. Maybe you can get it. But ultimately, you need guys that are able to have multiple tools in their chest and, do different things, have counter punches. And I don't think Tua's got that. I don't think Fields has that. I think that's become pretty clear. I do have a question, though. Is Fields going to start?
So he practiced today. He's still in concussion protocol. That just means that you practice with as a non-contact player, but that doesn't really matter with a quarterback because all quarterbacks are non-contact practice players anyway. You got that extra day because it's a Monday. I think he's going to start. He'll probably be clear tomorrow or Saturday. I would expect that. But I mean, he practiced with the ones today, and as far as they can tell, everything's on track. And the one thing I'll say about Fields is I still don't know what he really is in this offense, because he played very well week 1 against the Steelers.
Yeah,
and then And then week 2, it all fell apart. He gets knocked out in the third quarter, and he didn't play last week. So I don't know. In my ideal situation, I want them to obviously lose as many games as possible because I think the quarterback class coming out in this draft is pretty good.
Yeah, there's some gems in there for sure.
There definitely are. But I am all for, obviously I want to win as many games as possible as the fan, but in the back of my head, I know that for future success, I need a franchise quarterback. And whether that's the draft or whether that somehow magically becomes Justin Fields, which I don't think is going to happen, I just want a quarterback that I can, tag as my franchise quarterback for the next decade. That's
How are you guys
all
strapped
It
for?
changes everything. It changes everything. You get the quarterback, it changes everything.
Well, that quarterbacks. I mean, you got to have one of them dudes to even compete. I get it. There's all these new schemes and all this window dressing, and especially in today's day and age, you're seeing this weird trend of retreads being successful. But I would say this: how many retreads minus a guy who has already proven that he was super elite, like Sam Darnold? How many retreads are winning Super Bowls? I mean, you could say Baker Mayfield is a retread, I guess. He still plays as good. I thought the Browns were dumb when they got rid of him personally. Sam Darnold retread, Geno Smith retread, but where's it really taking these guys? Where's it really taking their teams?
I think the NFL in general is not very conducive to drafting a quarterback high and letting him sit, because you have, I feel, a kind of a limited window there with your rookie contract. The guy's got to get on the field, and you have to know kind of right away. It's not like in years past where you could draft a guy, let him sit for a year or two, and then see what he has, and maybe he learned something from a veteran. I think a lot of these retreads, Geno, Sam Darnold, Baker, they're kind of forced onto the field, and then you think that they're crap, and eventually it just takes some guys time to actually, step up. And Sam Darnold looks like one of the top 5 quarterbacks, top 7 quarterbacks or so in the league right now with Seattle. I mean, I think the Vikings made a mistake in letting him go and going with J.J. McCarthy. I don't see how you can look at a player and see them play that well and set Vikings records and say, no, thanks, we're going to go with someone else. I think that was a mistake. And I think Darnold,
I think in the long term, it might pan out, but certainly in the short term, it doesn't look like the right move. It does not but again, there is that it kind of goes to your earlier point. You got to get these kids out there because you got to make sure that you're A, working out the kinks with them, and B, finding out what you got, whether it's going to work or not work. Because once these guys get paid, you'll find yourself in the Miami Dolphins situation. They paid Tua, he had one good season, he cashed in, and now it is literally everything that is wrong with this football team. It's a cap restriction. All year this year, we had to make moves and sacrifices. Even before that, letting go of guys like Robert Hunt and people like that. We're unable to sign talent that we have. Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt. We let these guys walk to get out in front of Tua's contract, and now signing Tua, this team has fielded what I would say its least talented football team right now, offensively and defensively. Yeah, we still have pieces, and I would say measured up to a lot of football teams, we have a hell of a lot of talent. And name recognition on paper. Execution, not so good right now. And mainly, I would say, Tua's doing us no favors. A lot of turnovers this year, a lot of inconsistent play, a lot of just ugly football. And from the guy that's supposed to be the captain, gets paid the most money on the team, it is a burden. It is a burden to have a quarterback contract on your team and not going anywhere. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask any Cardinals fan. They like Kyler Murray. They loved Kyler Murray. They thought they were going to do stuff with Kyler Murray. For the last 2-3 years, they've not been high on him because it has just been draining all of the resources out of that football team for what has amounted to nothing. And, it's hard. And right now, we're in if the Dolphins are planning on getting a quarterback next year, or the Jets are, this is a big game for both these teams as far as draft order to snipe one or the other to get the quarterback that they want. I don't think either of these teams are rolling it in like they're gonna pull their punches because they're thinking that far ahead. I don't think either of the coaches or people involved feel secure enough in their jobs to have that kind of long play in their cards right now. What are the chances that if your team ends up with a fifth round, top 5 pick, do they bring back the same coaching staff? Are they going to allow them to rebuild? Is this just they're going to wipe the slate clean and hopefully dangle a top 3 pick to a new guy to come in here? What's up?
I don't think so. I mean, they just gave him a 5-year contract. Him and Muji, 5-year contract. I don't think they'll cut bait after one season. Woody Johnson for Jet fans obviously have very strong opinions about Woody Johnson. The one thing Woody Johnson will do, at least in the first 3 years or so of a coaching staff, he'll let them do what they need to do. He doesn't get involved really until the very end when it really starts going south. So I don't see any changes, at least for 3 seasons with this coaching staff. I think he'll give them the time that they need to build the roster in Aaron Glenn's image. And Aaron Glenn is actually very close with Woody Johnson. Obviously, Aaron Glenn is a former player. He was drafted. He knows Woody Johnson personally. They seem to have a really good relationship. So I don't think Aaron Glenn's going anywhere in the short term. My question for you, if the Jets win, does Mike McDaniel get fired pretty quickly?
So if this was a week ago before that Thursday night football game, I would say yes. But I feel like the tides have shifted.
Yeah,
the tides have shifted. In the first couple of weeks and definitely the off season, there was a lot of heat on Mike McDaniel, and for good reason, right? Number one, the team is soft. The word is out that he's soft. He kind of the guy fucking wears capri pants and designer sunglasses. It's hard to say we're a tough, hard-nosed football team when you're dressing like that. Now, whether or not that correlates, sorry, it's what we see. People are using that. Plus the highbrow nerdy stuff, it's wearing thin. And I told people when Dolphin fans were all high on Mike McDaniel, they're like, oh, it's McDrip. The Mike McDrip, Mike McCouga. When they were all high, I was like, listen, these same things you guys are saying you love about him is going to be what you hate about him on the way out. I've seen this show played out 1,000,000 times. So, but I will say he coached a hell of a game on Thursday. And again, for us Dolphin fans that are really intent, I go back, I watched the film. There is guys all open. His play calling, his schemes. Yeah, there's some bad plays and there's some errors. And then there's some coaching errors with, operation errors that happen and, in play flags and stuff like that. But all in all, on a lot of plays that Tua's missing or not getting the guy or checking down, there's dudes wide open. He's just not getting it.
I saw the same thing when I'm looking at the All-22 when the Jets played Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo's secondary is really that great.
It's not. And the second and third level, there's dudes out there.
Yeah, I think especially in that game, the Jets' offensive line failed Justin Fields. I don't think he really had any time to throw the ball. It was a whole mess. But yeah, the Buffalo is going to be interesting with their defense because I don't think their defense is that great. But
it's not.
If you're putting up 35 points a game with Josh Allen, does it really matter how bad your defense is? I don't know. But you're right. I mean, there were guys running wide open for Tua to throw to. And the one stat that I've noticed with Tua that I looked up, his completion percentage is like over 75% when he has like under 3 seconds to throw the ball. When he gets the ball out, in under 3 seconds. After that, it drops to like below 50%. So the offense is very, a modern offense in general is very timed. Very the routes are very what's the term I'm looking for?
It's
timing routes. It's all
offense,
timing routes, right? And that's great for Tua in Miami when your first read is Tyreek Hill and he's just going to be open 80% of the time anyway.
Off the speed alone.
Right. And the same thing goes with with the Jets. It's very much a timing route based offense. And with the Jets, if you take away Garrett Wilson, you bracket him, you double team him, I don't have another receiver you can really throw to. And that's where kind of
What
things
about
break
Brees
down.
Hall? Is he not good out of the passing game anymore? What happened? Don't
No,
they use him on some?
he's good out of the passing game. Um, the problem is, especially in the last two games, the offensive line has broken down, especially on the left-hand side. Olu
Mhm.
Fashanu and John Simpson had two very bad games back to back, and Justin and Tyrod just haven't had the time to really get past that first read. And
Yeah.
I don't think the offense, especially in the last game against Buccaneers, the playbook just never opened up to the point where you could start looking at Brees Hall out of the backfield, because you couldn't get the run game started. And you couldn't get the run game started because the passing game wasn't there. So it was just a compounding, you know, issue there. But of course,
Yeah.
but of course, the Jets. I mean, I was watching this game against the Buccaneers, and the first three quarters, the Jets give you absolutely nothing on offense. The defense is holding on by a thread. Of course, Tyrod throws the pick six at halftime.
Oh, that was ugly.
That's why they lost the game.
Yeah.
Because
Ultimately.
up until that point, the defense only gave up 13 points and gave up and had some short fields that they had to deal with off of a fumble and a terrible fourth and short that they didn't convert on. And then fourth quarter comes around and they get a garbage time touchdown. You're like, okay, whatever. And then they go down and score another touchdown. Okay, all right, well, now I need to pay attention. And then Will McDonald has that block, scoop, and score. And then you're minute to go and you're like, okay, now I have to actually watch the game. And you get invested again. But then the defense lets it up, and it just, life as a Jet fan.
Yeah, it's well, and look, and I'm not making excuses, but still is a new offense, new scheme being installed for everybody, including the O-line and the quarterbacks.
And
New
on defense, new
quarterbacks.
defensive scheme too.
Everything's new. So there is some
It's hard.
kinks to be worked out. Shout out to Joe R. You said, I heard our game got moved to Comedy Central.
I bet we tie. That'd be awesome.
It's funny you said that. I said, listen, wouldn't this be funny if we ended up in a tie? There's just no
That would
way.
be
But
so awesome.
it would be poetic. It would be very poetic. But I'm not trying to make excuses, but that is understandable in a new year, new coach, new quarterback, new backup quarter. Like everything's new. The Dolphins have no excuses. It's not a new defensive coordinator. Matter of fact, his defense was great last year. We heard all offseason about how effective our front seven was going to be. We knew our secondary was young, inexperienced, and injured. We lost like 11,000 guys in camp to before. We had dudes dropping like flies. But we were told defensively that front seven was going to be dominant. It has looked terrible. They're not getting any pressure, no turnovers, no nothing. I mean, sacks have come, but like not in big moments, not when you really need them. A sack comes on like second down and 8, and it's now 3rd and 11, and they convert. So that sack happened, but did it do anything? No. It's really been frustrating but then you want to be mad at the defense for its struggles and shortcomings. But when you look at the offense, the O-line, even though we have injuries on our right side of the line, we got a backup guard and a backup tackle on our right side, which is Tua's blind side. They're playing relatively efficient. Down in and down out, they're doing pretty well. Mike McDaniel is finally listening and running the ball, but the passing game has so much limitations. Tua is only throwing the ball, a yard. Like nothing is downfield, and everything that's open downfield is eliminated because it's not even looked for. Tua has no excuse. I think what's happened in this offense this year is that, it's the same wide receivers, same, but Devon Achane's been here. It's not a lot of new moving parts, and the quarterback. And the next natural progression in all this is that beyond the first read, there's more on that route, on the other routes, and you got to know where to find them. And then also, if you buy time and go left or right, wherever you're buying time from, in or out of the pocket, you need to know where to look. And Tua has just no ability to do that, no ability to. And also, it comes down to this, right? A lot of times when a quarterback escapes the pocket, they push the ball down the field because that's where guys get loose. Tua has to stop, set, and put everything he's got. I think there's a lot degenerating with his physical attributes. He said today at the podium, which he needs to stop talking. He sounds like a fucking idiot right now, bro. He sounds so stupid. I'll tell you what he said in a minute. But he had mentioned that he feels his ankles aren't as good. We know he has his hip. He's had ankle surgeries on both his ankles, so he can feel those things. Like, it's like, damn, dude. With how much limited arm strength you already possessed, if this is how you're going to be, because at this age, like, just pack it in, kid. But he said today at the podium, he was asked about Cam Newton, who in a long way was judging Tua. And he basically said, oh, these people with their clickers, don't know the game, essentially. And then was like, yeah, Cam played. He said at the end, but he basically gave the
Is he insinuating that Cam doesn't know what he's talking about?
Well, he gave he gave an answer that basically is like that canned answer where you're like, oh, these armchair quarterbacks that don't know the game, they can't say it. And he goes, even though I know Cam has. Like, he basically said, Cam needs to shut up. He don't know what's going on because he don't understand. But then he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. He does kind of know because he was an MVP and went to a Super Bowl. And didn't he win the friggin' Heisman too? I mean, the guy is super national champion. Like, what are we talking here? Like, but he just continues to put his foot in his mouth. Some people are saying it's CTE from all the concussions. I think that's just low-hanging fruit to make fun of him. But he sounds like a total dumbass, man. It is, bro.
I've seen ugly. You online or on X post pictures of him. Aren't there like pictures of him like on a boat, overweight, eating like Chick-fil-A or something like that? Like, does he not take care of himself? Like in the
he's always been
like, what?
To me, he's always been soft-bodied. He's always been one of those soft-body kind of guys. But no, this offseason.
So is Mahomes. So is Mahomes. I mean,
but Mahomes is what? 6'3", 6'4", 225 walking around. Tua's 6 foot when he stands up straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just he doesn't have the physical attributes to live that way. That boat picture was his off-season workout this year. Every year before he got paid, he always had these media clips. He had his personal trainer, and they're using filters and, showing him in the lab grinding. And then once this kid got paid, it's like, well, now it's 9 to 5. I've done what I can do. And now that he's getting paid, he, rather than getting paid and him taking a level step up to do what's being paid of him now, he's taken a step back. And everyone else, media, fans, all our expectations have gone up. You're now getting $50+ million a year. And he now is wondering why everyone's talking to him like this. Why are they treating me like that? This team has sheltered him, protected him, and kept him in a bubble from criticism, not just outside criticism, but inside criticism. Protected him from coaches that don't like him, protected him from players that don't like him. And now at this point, there's just no more anything to protect. You can't hide it anymore. And up to this point, these first 3 weeks, the way the Buffalo game ended was a perfect. Mike McDaniel called a perfect game plan. You can't, using our running game the way he did, it came down to Tua needing to do a little bit extra, and he throws interceptions. And then before that, he was just, week 1 was a perfect display of all of his deficiencies in one game. He could have a bad game this way, a bad game that way. Week 1, he had a bad game in every which way he could possibly have in one game.
But week 1's hard. Week 1 is hard because it's, for a lot of guys, it's the first time they got live bullets firing at them. You don't have a lot of game planning going on in week 1. But if there was ever a game for Tua to actually break out and have a good game, it's gonna be Monday night against the Jets, because outside of Sauce Gardner, there really isn't another cornerback you can kind of wave a stick at. Like I said
Well,
earlier in the stream, Brandon Stevens has not played well at all, and behind him you have a rookie with AC Thomas. In the safeties, you have Andre Cisco, who isn't really anything to write home about, and you got a rookie Malachi Moore who's going to be starting. We have two linebackers banged up. Quincy Williams is not going to be playing. McCreary Ball won't be playing. So our starting linebackers are going to be Sherwood and a 5th-round pick out of Miami. Muaga, I think is his last name. Starts with an M. I can't pronounce it right. So if there was ever a game where he could kind of break out from a passing perspective, it's going to be this one, because just don't throw at Sauce, and you're probably going to get a completion. In my eyes,
I would say, yeah, in theory that sounds right, but all the team needs to do is play cover 2 and cover 4 on Tua, and he'll only go to everything underneath or what's at the sidelines. And
the problem is, if he does go underneath, I don't have the Jets don't have the linebackers to handle it. I don't think right now.
Well, I'm sure those passes will get completed, and your safeties and your corners will come up and make stops. But here's the problem: if that first read isn't there for whatever reason, the play is dead. It's over. It's cooked. He can't get to his second read in time, because even if pressure's not there, I've watched this kid just in the past 3 weeks go from a clean pocket and immediately take his eyes off downfield and start looking where to run to.
I saw that one play. He bailed on a pocket that there was nothing.
That was clean.
I saw you post
because he looked to the first. Yeah, he looked to the first read, and it was gone. So then he immediately panics to then try to scramble to look downfield, and
he ran backwards 10 yards just to throw the ball away. I was like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've been dealing with, and it's showing. Tua looks like a second-year quarterback that's trying to learn things and feel things out. He's scared to get hit, and for good reason, right? He plays like a scared to get hit quarterback, and it's hard to run any offense. If you want everything done within 2.5 seconds, then you're never going to win any football games, bro. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I have to say also, just from a human aspect, every time I see him take off, I'm like holding my breath.
Oh, yeah.
Because just from the history and the injuries and the concussions, it's just every time he takes off and goes to slide, you're like,
Well, yeah, because you might be sliding. That's good, but where's the missile coming?
Exactly.
You slide, you're more exposed than if you were to just actually lay a hit, if you're being real. But because you're giving yourself up. And listen, I'll be honest. If I was playing against the Dolphins and Tua slid on me, I don't care. I'll take that 15-yard penalty, because I know the Dolphins aren't that good with him. Without him, they got nothing. And I'm trying to win the game. I'll take a 15-yard penalty. You can say it's a cheap shot all you want. I don't care. He shouldn't be on the field if he can't take those hits. That's how I feel. I'm not talking Kiko. I'm not talking the Kiko Alonso hit that he put on Joe Flacco, flagrant, but
But it's the Jets, so Zach Wilson will come in and embarrass the Jets.
Well, I would like to see that. I would at least like to see that. That would be at least fun to watch. I know
the whole season has been an embarrassment, right? We lost to Aaron Rodgers week 1, right, where he finally put his team in a position to win the game, which he just for some reason couldn't do when he was with us. Week 2, obviously Josh Allen. You had Elijah Moore running for a touchdown and doing a backflip at the end of the game. And then obviously week 3, we lose to our former coach in Todd Bowles, and Hassan Reddick gets a sack. So week 4, it's only poetic that Zach Wilson will come in, and just the embarrassment train will just continue. I fully expect that. Fully.
Wow. We're literally on the precipice to find out who is more pathetic at this point. That's what this is, the pathetic bowl. We thought it was the take bowl. It's actually the pathetic bowl. Because which terrible story of irony will be written? Will it be Zach Wilson that takes over and beats his former team for Zach Wilson Revenge Tour? Which, how does that even look? Tua's not going to get benched. It's got to mean Tua gets knocked out of the game, which ultimately, please, and I don't wish, harm on nobody, but at this point, again, Pat, the Tuanon thing that was in my fan base, the vitriol. Okay, so All right, let me help you out, Pat, because
Okay.
there was a literal movement of fans. And then not just fans, this was calculated. I've never seen. So like almost like how like a cell for cyber hackers would move. They organized and quiet spaces and people close to Tua's camp from that were attached to him via
hmm
trainers, workout people, PR people, tapped in with certain fans that were diehard Tua people, and they looked to control a narrative on Dolphin fans to essentially gaslight and propaganda Dolphins fans. And I watched this shit happen bro, I'm not even kidding you. This happened in real time. Gatekeeping, running people off apps, controlling, they would on Twitter or X or whatever, they would block you, and anyone they would meet, they would tell you that you're a terrible person. I was a victim of this for years. Just because of, well, I mean, I am kind of a troll and I don't give a shit. Fuck y'all. It's the internet. Quit being such a bitch, but at the same time, my door is always open and I open up panels. People come up and argue with me. They don't want to argue. They want to silence. And they did this for years. And now that Tua's on the way out, I kind of want to see that kind of shit go away. And it's a little bit, I don't want to say I'm happy that Tua could get injured to be the end of that, but I'm happy to see this type of shit ending. Really. It's like mob mentality that I've seen in my fan base where, and I'm talking like the old heads got it the worst, right? Like the dudes that have been diehard Dolphin fans, like my father's age and my uncle's age, and a little bit older than me that have been around, all these years. They come out and they say stuff, and these like mob tactics on people. It's just crazy, bro. Shout out to El Bonito. He says, when the Jets win after a Mike McDaniel firing, will the next coach roll with Tua? Well, I don't know if Mike McDaniel will get fired. And I don't think if the Jets win, Mike McDaniel's not getting fired and Tua's not getting benched. Mark my words.
I feel like the Dolphins are where the Jets were last year. I feel like probably at the end of the season, I mean, the Jets obviously got rid of their coach week 5 last year, but you're probably in for, like you said in the beginning of the stream, you're probably in for a rebuild starting in 2026. And, you expect a full cleaning of the house, if the season goes the way you think it's going to go. You have, Tua will be gone. McDaniel will be gone. Grier. I know you hate Grier, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate him as much as, for me right now, we need a full Chernobyl type situation. We need a full raising of the land from Garfinkel, who's like the VP of football operations. He's actually the go-between between our general manager Grier and the owner. From him, I'd like to get rid of the owner. It's just impossible. From Garfinkel to the gardener, I want everything gone. I want new paint inside. I want new carpet. I want new upholstery. I want.
That's where I was last year.
Thing. I want it burned to the fucking ground. I want it, and then afterwards, I want a couple of shamans coming in and sage the fucking building. I don't want none of it no more, because we need a full rebrand. Like, again, I'll give you for instance, right? And I have no idea, but the flagship spokesman podcast for the Miami Dolphins, the spokesman, he's the guy, they run the podcast. He asks questions. He works for the Dolphins, but it's their media control guy. His name is Travis Wingfield, right? They do the podcast weekly. The guy has me blocked. I've had only like 2 or 3 interactions with him in public forums online that have always been well, but he has me blocked. He literally has me blocked. And I know why and how, again, to what I was saying earlier with a couple of these people that push this bullshit propaganda. They've all had skin in the game. They all pushed Tua to be the guy, not because they saw what they thought was the guy, but because if he was the guy, they were all going to be right and it was going to be their Dolphins. That's what happened. It literally happened. It's fucking crazy to say, but we had like a literal internalized coup, and that shit needs to be gone. Like we have to literally have everybody get the fuck up out of here, because I think the way in which this team operates is all about everything other than product of football on the field.
Mhm.
That's it. It's all about everything, all the
All
business
about
shit, all
ticket
the
sales,
yeah, it's all about
merchandise,
yeah,
jerseys, these
every
stupid rivalry
fucking
jerseys.
yes, everything, dude.
Yeah.
Everything other than X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yep.
It's a fucking pain in the ass.
What
And
do you
it
think of the
sucks.
rivalry jerseys?
I think they're dumb as fuck. I really do. I think they missed the mark. I think they could have on paper it looked better, but now that you can see it's got this weird plastic over it and it's shiny.
My first
bro,
thought was a black or a dark jersey in Miami in the
Mhm.
heat. I'm like, but then obviously they're playing at night. But that was my first thought. I was like, why are they going with such a dark jersey? Like they wear white at home. They have they have that heat weather sun thing, with the
the
away team always on the bench. Like,
yeah.
why are you doing that? But now it makes sense because it's a night.
Well, for years, people have been talking about the Miami Vice jerseys. So they use like the neon pink and the neon teal and the neon,
yeah.
orange, and they
I like the
added
orange
that.
ones. The orange ones look sharp.
Well, we've been seeing all these cool graphics come out for years, and the Dolphins go, "Oh, we're not going to take any of those ideas. We're going to fade everybody and do something original." And they missed. They missed. They missed as far as I could tell.
The Jets ones are horrendous. I mean, they literally took the pattern of a sewer manhole cover and put
Sweet.
that pattern on the sleeves.
It's kind of
So
symbolic if we're being real.
Exactly. I made a video just like this. I was like, you're telling me that you wanted to make a jersey that represented New York and represented the New York Jets, and you decided to pick a sewer cover. Like, it's somebody at Nike was just trolling the Jets. It was like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, we're stuck with these sewer jerseys.
I wish the Dolphins would have made one look like a trash can. It would be so fitting. So, I don't know, man. Look, I'm fighting with the community a little bit. Not so much so because a lot of them's quieted down.
They're coming to the realization of what's kind of coming.
Oh, well, I'm watching these people who for the last 3-4 years have, just straight cussed people out and said they don't know football, clipping me, because I didn't give the blood oath and bow down to the altar of Tua and how he was going to save this franchise. I'm watching them all do that Homer Simpson meeting and they fade into the bushes. They're all putting their skates on. They're talking about, Sellers is a good quarterback and this one. They're already looking at quarterbacks in next year's draft.
Sellers is a good quarterback, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't want, again, I'm not saying to silence these hoes, but I just want people to remember who was the ones that, cheered for Tua for their own personal beliefs. Not that they believed that it was going to benefit their team. Again, it's benefiting their YouTube channels. It's benefiting who they know that's going to help them get inside information with the team. It's all about favors. You know how this goes, Pat. You gotta be kind and do things. And I play nice as much as I can, but I put my purple jacket on and I get messy out here and I don't give a fuck. Because honestly, I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. I don't do this to get famous. I don't do this to make money. In fact, I've been losing my fucking ass on this with everything I pay out for the production I have with production guy. So
it's about being, especially on YouTube, it's about being real and I think being honest with, your audience. You can be a fan. You can be you can be rah, especially in the offseason. Like I'll post Justin Fields is the greatest quarterback. I did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. But then when push comes to shove, you gotta be real with your audience and be like, look, this is what I'm seeing. Like, we're not gonna be that great. I'm expecting 4 or 5 wins this year. It just is what it is. From an outside perspective, when it really comes to Tua, maybe not so much of an outside perspective, but he clearly got paid because he actually did look pretty good.
Debatable.
in the beginning, at least, and at least from my perspective as like a Jets fan or maybe an AFC East perspective, there seems to be, and I hate saying this, I'm not a doctor, but there's definitely seems to be a decline in the play once that there's really 2 concussions, right, in back-to-back weeks. I know they didn't call the first one a concussion, but it's the was it the Browns, Bengals,
yeah.
the first one, and it
Mhm.
just seems like everything kind of started to go downhill there. And like, I mean, I hope that it's nothing that affects him, you know, after football, but who
Bro,
knows?
that
But
come
it's
the end
so
of this, with the money he has in guarantees, the money he's earned, and just a roundabout figure, he's got almost $250 million in net worth. He gonna be all right, I promise you. He
right.
gonna be just fine. Now, unless he takes a bad hit and don't ever get up again, or comes up speaking a different
God forbid.
language,
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think the kid's gonna be fine, and he'll live just fine. Again, I'm not one of these people that when he got hurt making fun of him, that's bad taste. But it
No.
is to say, how much do you people love somebody to like force him back out? Like, it's weird how these, I don't know, man. Again, you're from the outside looking in. Should the Dolphins have ever paid Tua with these types of health concerns? Like, I'm just asking from your perspective, would you have paid Tua with
Probably
the
not
health? I
that.
mean, the hip, the surgeries, now the concussions.
I think out of his entire NFL career, going back to high school, he's only had 1 healthy season, right?
One.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, they say
maybe
he had a healthy
but
season
maybe
in the
not as
NFL.
much.
They say he had one in the NFL, but I would say debatable.
Right. He
It
didn't miss
really
any
is.
games is I guess the standard
get-
you're looking at, right?
Yeah. I guess you could say that. But damn, dude, I mean, he's just, again, it's so hard to argue the semantics that people want to put on when you ignore the things that are very obvious. When the very obvious things are, when it's in cold weather, he is a lesser football player. When it's heavy conditions, he's a lesser football player. Later in the season, nothing has the same, and that's with a lot of guys. But when you don't have the zip to start with and it decreases, it's too much to overcome. So
Mhm.
again, there was always concerns for me on that end, and I pushed back. It sucks, man. And as a Jets fan, when I know that you guys have struggled looking for quarterbacks forever, I mean,
We're the only team in the modern era to have 2 top 5 picks in a very short span of time, take a quarterback each time and it not work out.
the only team I could think that's had
unheard of.
more struggles of quarterback, and I would say the Jets have been longer, but the Browns seem to have had that. If you would take the Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield out of it, they've had the biggest thing. But Baker, they hit on Baker, if you ask me. They just shot themselves in the foot by getting rid of him and paying Deshaun Watson. That never paid off. Man, the fall of Deshaun Watson needs to be studied. I've never seen someone fall so far and high in my life.
He's paid well. He's paid well. He'll be just
again,
fine.
Yep.
The last quarterback we really had was Chad Pennington. And
I think so. Leadership, everything.
Right. And he did it for Miami too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but
Mark Sanchez is a nice story, but he was never going to be a franchise quarterback.
But ultimately, what held Pennington back was the same reason Miami moved off him in the end when he got older. Same reason the Jets moved. And they weren't wrong. You can't count on a guy because he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I would say this, right? Tua is inferior to Pennington in his leadership qualities and the student of the game. Pennington fucking knew everything.
When Pennington was healthy, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008 with the Dolphins, every year he was healthy, he went to the playoffs.
He knew everything. You could see that he had absolute command over his offense and everyone on that field. From the
Mhm.
time the huddle broke to everything he said before the ball was snapped, he had everything under control. Tua don't have that.
Yeah.
He ain't never had it. And that struggles. But I will say that's why when you're looking at quarterbacks to draft, you kind of give me the kind of special part of talents, and hopefully I can fine tune the cerebral ends, because ultimately arm talent can bail you out, bro. Arm talent can bail
I'm
you
the
out.
opposite way. I will always take the smarter quarterback with the mediocre arm than the kid that can't read defenses but can throw the ball a mile. I'll always take the quarterback that can dissect the defense in his mind.
Well,
Always.
I mean, I get you on that. I don't know. I guess it all depends on what coach I got. Like I got Mike McDaniel right now. If
Mm,
Mike McDaniel was choosing a quarterback, I would rather him choose a measurable arm strength quarterback over a cerebral less than arm strength quarterback, because I think Mike McDaniel could coach it and make this offense. I think that marriage between the two is very interesting as well, to
mhm.
be like who you should target, who a general manager. Because I would say if you gave Mike McDaniel his choice, he would try to find Tua, but healthy and, more leadership qualities. Where I would say, hey, I'd rather you find a mobile, giant rocket arm guy that has, hard work ethic, and then you can
Mhm,
kind of make him into the more cerebral part. Um,
mhm.
I think it's just, I don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard finding quarterbacks these days, which is
Yeah.
why you're seeing a lot of these teams. There is something interesting happening, though. There's a lot of teams that have quarterbacks on their, big time contracts that look to be like the road is either at its end or definitely ending this year. And I'm talking about like, you know, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, um, what's his name, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
There's a couple other people that all these teams are stuck with these quarterbacks, and this looks like the last year for all of them. Would the Jets be in any play in and something like that? Now I get that that'll probably come down to where they'll be in the draft order and what's available. I mean, you don't think the
I
Jets
hope
would
not. I
pull the
I
trigger
hope
on
not.
like a Kyler Murray or something like that?
But they have their retread already in Justin Fields, and he's got a 2-year contract.
Oh
I
shit! I
think
thought he only had a 1 year.
no, he's got a 2-year contract.
Oh shit!
So
Fuck.
no, I don't think at all that they'll be getting another retread. I think they have to, regardless of how Justin Fields plays this year, they have to get a quarterback in the draft. Even if Justin Fields plays great, bring in a kid to push him, you know, which
Yeah.
odds are it's probably not going to
Well,
happen. We're going
maybe
to end
just
up with
bringing
a
a
top 10
kid
pick.
to not even push him, but like bringing a kid to kind of let him slow cook a little bit while Justin Fields takes the beating early
True.
on, and let the kid, kind of
Just
like what the
like
Giants are.
we'll go back to it, just like Chad Pennington did behind Vinny Testaverde all those years ago. He sat
It's
for 2
true.
years.
He did.
So
And Vinny
yeah,
Vinny was a hell of a football player. People forget how good Vinny Testaverde was. Uh,
people forget he was the first. He was a number 1 overall pick.
it's not just that, but like what kind of fucking football, like a
Yeah,
student of the game. People forget how respected he was, how high everyone thought of him. He was like one of those guys everyone expected to be the Tom Brady of the era. And at times he looked like it. Kind of got off the rails there. All right. So what's your predictions?
the Jets are getting 3, right? Usually the home team gets 3, so it's a 6-point swing in Vegas. Um, it's such a toss up. If it's going to be a 1-score game, um, 23-21 Miami, maybe.
Hmm.
If it or 23-21 Jets. It's tough. If I had to put my money on it, I want Miami to win because I want the better draft pick. But I think it's going to be closer than people may think. I think Tua will have a good passing game against this defense. I think the Jets will have a good running game against that Miami defensive line. I think PFF has the D line ranked dead last, if I'm
Hmm.
not mistaken. So I think the Jets will be able to run the ball. I think Tua will be able to throw the ball, and it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last.
Well, I'll tell you this. If it comes down to Tua needing to drive down the field and win it with his arm, you will win that football game. He will lose the game with his arm. So if it's the last drive and it's, Miami 20 and Jets 24 and Dolphins doesn't matter about timeouts. Don't worry about mismanaging the clock. Because if Tua's got to throw to win that game and have to step outside of the beautifully made, tailor-made bubble suit that Mike McDaniel has made for him, he will lose us that football game. He did it last week. He did it the week before. And, well, I would say week 1, he came out the gates and just started giving the football to everybody that wasn't us. So
as long as Tyreek Hill gets like a touchdown or two and helps my fantasy team, I'm all for it.
Well, it's funny because Tyreek Hill scored 100 yards and a touchdown. And that was the first time ever last week that they did that.
I was loving it.
But it's the first time ever that the Dolphins had Tyreek Hill go for over 100 yards and a touchdown, and we didn't win. Every time we've done that, he's won. The only other caveat,
is Buffalo, though.
Yeah, but the other caveat is that we score a touchdown in the third quarter. And we didn't. So that's what there is a little bit there. Well, Pat, I really appreciate you coming by, homie. I hope we can do this fucking collab one day where we're like shit talking each other because we got good teams and we're like, fuck, you going down. Yeah. But here we are. We're
like
sitting
a
here
decade.
That's gonna be like 6 or 7 years, buddy. But we'll keep doing these. And again, hopefully, we'll find out, maybe next year you'll have a young quarterback. I'll have a young quarterback. We can see what we know. I'll need to learn about whatever quarterback you got and vice versa. And this could be a little bit more of a upbeat type of stuff. Cause right now we're just hanging on for the season. Like, in some ways I'm relieved because I feel like this is coming to an end. But in other ways, I know where you're sitting, and I'm looking at where you are, and I'm like, God, I'm going to be where Pat is next year. Like, I'm going to be sitting here with some quarterback that's a retread and a young guy maybe, or I don't know. My team might not even be in much less position, but they might not be. I mean, fuck, dude, I don't know what the fuck, dude. We got like $80 million in dead cap next year, and if we cut Tua, we could be in like $100 million in dead cap like that, bro. Like, what the hell is that? That's a tank year. When half your freaking cap is gone, that's a tank year.
Yeah.
So.
But luckily, I mean, if you guys or us have a high enough draft pick, I think there's enough quarterbacks coming out in this draft where not only the Jets and Miami can get a good quarterback, but a few other teams can get a quarterback. I like Sellers. I like Nussmeier. I like Mater. Mendoza looks fantastic.
Mendoza does look pretty good too.
Mendoza hasn't really.
What's the kid from Oklahoma?
Mater.
Mater. I'm keeping an eye on him too.
I think he's out though. I think he's having surgery.
Yeah, is he getting that Tommy John surgery like they're all doing?
I don't know.
I think he's going to. I think he's going to get that Tommy John.
Sorry guys, it is a hand injury. He has something with his thumb. Just so you know.
Listen, telling you right now. Thanks for that, Ali. He was sitting in the back. I'm telling you right now. He gonna get that Tommy John surgery, and he gonna come back. So, but whatever. Pat, I appreciate you, my brother. We'll tap in next time. We got another game. Maybe we'll link up again this season, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I appreciate you coming through, my brother. Everybody, hit the like button. Thanks for coming by. Make sure you guys check out Pat at Jet Podcast, Jet Pod on Twitter, on X, everywhere like that. And listen, he's a Jets fan. Y'all treat him right. Okay, we ain't sit on no high horse.
I'm saying,
we ain't sit on no high horse over no Jets right now. So have a little realization. We'll see y'all next time. Fins up.